Okay, we're gonna get started. The regularly scheduled meeting of the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission is being held in the Commissioners' Meeting Room in Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Room 250, Cortez, Colorado. We're gonna open with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Don, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yeah.
Commissioner Lynch,
Here. Also present is Don Haley and Jane Duncan of the County Planning Department. Absent is Commissioner Taylor, Commissioner Saunders, and Commissioner Neergaard. Please silence or turn off your cell phones during this meeting. Important calls can be taken if you step out of the room into the hallway there, please. Has the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the October 19th meeting minutes?
I have.
Okay, as have I.
Yes? Nope, you didn't? Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the planning and zoning minutes for October 19th, 2023.
And I'll second. And can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Abstain.
Okay. No further discussion on motion. Motion was carried. Vote was 2-1 abstain. All right. The Montezuma County Planning Commission welcomes you to this meeting. This board is comprised of members who are tasked to make recommendations to the Board of County Commissioners. We are not the decision makers. We encourage public comment after each permit. Persons speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced at the discretion of the Planning Commission to allow members of the public the opportunity to address their thoughts and concerns. When addressing the commission, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual applicants are not permitted. Participants may not yield their time to others. And I will be voting tonight. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yep.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
All right, number one, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made, to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed amendment application to the Hoke 2-lot minor subdivision and AR 3-9 and industrial rezoning submitted by Daniel and Debbie Hoke on property located at TBD Road L, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 32.91 acres, more or less, located south of Road L, east of Road 26, situated in Section 24, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir.
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir.
Would the applicant like to come forward? And if you'll go ahead and just turn on those mics. Thank you. Appreciate it. Jane, can we have planning department findings?
Sure. The applicants are proposing to amend the Hope 2-lot minor subdivision to create a 4-lot moderate by adding 2 more lots. They also are proposing to rezone one of the new lots into a heavy industrial zoned lot in order to house construction equipment and materials storage yard. All of the infrastructure is nearby, and that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to add?
Just wanted to, on the one, I changed it around to make the one residential and the front one heavy industrial to appease, some concerns from the city and from my neighbors.
Okay.
And so I'm trying to be compliant with that and still have a place where I can operate my business out of.
Okay. Planning discussion?
Yeah, I do. Okay, so it's currently zoned commercial, the properties that we're looking at?
The northwest property's heavy industrial, the rest of it is AR
Okay.
10 to 34.
It is industrial right now.
That top section.
Only-
This little cut.
Nope, the one over.
Yes, okay, that's the one that's industrial. Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
And that's Raptor Storage.
okay, and the current industrial or the proposed industrial lot where there's soil
Would be right there.
sifting, you're separating rock, dirt. That's what's going on right now.
Yes, and then I'd have I was gonna move the heavy equipment from that make that residential to the front to be more compliant with, get it closer to the road and get it away from Brandon's Gate.
Okay, I'm not following that.
Because the last time this was proposed as in heavy industrial.
This was gonna be industrial, so now you moved it up
The
to the
back one
front.
was gonna be
Correct.
industrial.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
so I'm looking at it correctly, okay,
Correct.
okay. And that's what's being used right now. It's being used as industrial
Yeah,
right
now,
now.
I'm trying to be, I've got heavy stuff there. I'm trying
Oh, yeah.
to comply with it and get the stuff moved up front, so it's out of the
Well,
way.
I mean, I see that it's being used for industrial use right now, even though it's not zoned for it. If we do allow this, then how are you going to deal with the dust and the noise for the residential?
Well,
Especially if you're gonna continue using it in the same method.
that back part would be residential.
Okay, the other one's gonna be AR 10 to 34, right? So that's still residential ag.
Yeah, the back part would be, that back 3-acre part would be residential.
What about the other one?
And then the other one would be heavy industrial.
Okay, and the remaining 10 to 34 is gonna be residential?
Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing, subdividing.
Okay, still.
Later on subdividing it.
Okay, okay. But you still didn't answer the question, how are you gonna deal with that dust and that noise if you're gonna continue with that use?
Well, that's, I suppose I would do whatever it takes to comply with that. As far as I put in a road already, that road continues to the back, it's
That's 60 feet,
already been
okay.
approved.
Okay.
And then, I put in a, culvert to get across, and so the water there's irrigation water flooding the place, and so the water can get out,
And that 60-foot access road will be for everybody?
yes.
Well,
Yes, it's for,
Okay.
and then there's a cul-de-sac at the end of it for future, so people can turn around.
okay, let me see.
So when this came before the Planning and Zoning Commission for the top left corner to be industrial,
That was gonna be heavy industrial.
right? So I know that at that time, the agreement was that there was not gonna be any further industrial. And then,
Well, that was a recommendation.
I understand that. So What's to keep you from selling that 3-acre parcel to the next business that wants it, and then reapplying with the same issue of needing to move your equipment to that parcel? And now we're encroaching upon everything else, step by step.
Yeah, I understand that concern. It's getting, where there's a church there now. There's Brandon's Gate behind me and that's why I don't have any other plans of doing anything else, because I'm fixing to retire, in the next few years. But I still need a place to run my business, and I don't want to go somewhere else in the county, or I got my stuff at my house. I got to have somewhere to make things happen, and that's why I even bought the property, because it was, by other industrial properties, I mean, there's Candelaria Constructions down there. We got Diesel Tech, it's in that area, and that's why I bought that place. I had a place in Cortez Industrial Park, and that was just, I didn't like really dealing with the city. I mean, I had some issues with that, and this was an opportunity. Plus, it was, it brought a better opportunity for me, as far as maybe subdividing, or somebody else wanting to buy it and subdivide it, what's left of it, for residential. I mean, I understand the concern of my neighbor to the left there, and that's why I zoned that, wanted to zone that residential, so that he, was appeasing him and his, and
But
I
effectively.
wouldn't want that in my backyard either. I mean, if that's just.
But really, I mean, rezoning that does, unless you're planning on building there from a housing standpoint,
Yeah.
it is residential currently as is, right? With the AR 10 to 34.
Right.
So
That's-
adding that 3-acre, yeah, all you've done effectively is create just another lot there, a separate lot.
Yeah, that I would like to maybe sell, or put a modular home on there or something.
Which brings me back to my point, selling that lot, what keeps you from selling the industrial lot? Say we decide to do that, right? Because I know that was the plan for the first one.
Mm.
That was the reasoning behind the first time being approved for the industrial side of it, right?
Okay. And there was a recommendation that there should be no more heavy industrial
Correct.
lots. Now, I mean, I'm trying to be compromised in this situation, understanding, the location of it and what's around it. But still, in this county, there's really nothing for heavy industrial or, to go. I mean, this is already there. And, I mean, I could limit that and say no more. I wouldn't put another heavy industrial place in there,
Okay.
I mean, I'm willing to do that. Now, if there was something on the other side, on that side, for like commercial or something, somebody wanted to build if I sold it, somebody, or maybe later, a small shopping center or something. I mean, I don't see that being a problem with where it's at.
Okay.
Would that be a problem with that, or a convenience store, or somebody wanting to build there? Since it's on a corner or of Brandon's Gate, and now that other place is all built out, it's all sold across the street on the north side is all sold. I just went by there, this morning, and it says it's all sold. So potentially, you know, I would like to see the thing go resident, the whole thing outside of that other 3 acres go residential. I mean, yes, residential.
Okay. Did you have anything else?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, this particular application in the first paragraph is tied to a land use code no longer in use. So that's going to influence my vote.
I'm sorry, restate that. I didn't catch that.
In the first paragraph, an
Yeah,
out-of-date
that's-
land use code is referenced and tied to this permit. Do you see the first paragraph there at the bottom?
Are you referencing this here?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, March 2015? March 2nd,
Yes.
2015. Okay.
Oh, I see. Amended 2015.
What does that state?
I'm sorry?
He mentioned something, what that states, that's no longer in force.
The land use code referenced in the application is a version of March 2nd of 2015. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Then we can open it to public comment. If you'd like to comment, please come to the podium.
Amy Mishonis, 10906 Road 26, and I appreciate you thinking about changing things around. My concern is that you do put in housing and then everything that's there just stays. There hasn't been any consequence to anything being removed that's been asked. So that would be nice to see. I think all neighbors would appreciate a little bit of respect there.
Yeah, that would, that's
Please,
what I'm doing.
ma'am, please
yeah.
direct everything our way.
So, so I know Dale stood up here last time. His house is most affected by everything. Everything's right there in front. But he said, what's gonna happen? Are there consequences? Is the county gonna do? And here we are again, and nothing's been done. So that's my concern, is we just keep coming back and nothing gets resolved. And I would love to see all houses there. I think we all would. We need more houses. But this is just getting a little exhausting, and it would be nice if there was something that happens, you know? I don't know, on either side, so, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Joe Gray, 10820 County Road 26. I am right beside Dale, joining the property there. And, you know, yes, we've had to look at, you know, the junk trailer, just junk, you know, basically construction equipment that is non-usable construction equipment sitting there. And basically, my concern is not only does it knock the value of our properties down by having heavy industrial there, it's also just, you know, I mean, I have a beautiful view. I mean, but anybody sees it, all we see is a junk trailer that could bring in, you know, homeless, druggies, you know, just, you know, anybody that, oh, hey, we got a junk trailer up there, we can just jump in there and stay the night. You know, they could build a fire. That also puts risk to our properties, you know, right there. And then the other concern is, okay, if it was moved up front, okay, to look at it that way, you're wanting to do water and everything, you know, if you're gonna do residential in that property. Well, for one, the property has no irrigation. The second, the only water is coming across the road up there off of L Road, the county water. And, you know, I live back there, I was gonna have to go through there to do it, so I had to put a cistern in on my property. On that, the only other place would be coming over off here off Brandon's Gate, running water all the way through there would be the only other option for it. And there's only one other option for electricity, is down at the bottom of my property or all the way down Brandon's Gate. There's the only two options of electricity to the property. So if you're gonna put a heavy industrial, my opinion is, how would that affect both the church, all the people that just bought these, you know, $500,000 homes across the street? You've got a wildlife reserve on the other side, and then you've got Brandon's Gate. Who's gonna build all these apartments that are right here? Who's gonna build there if you're gonna look straight at junk trailers, you know, heavy industrial, burning when you wanna burn, you know? That's my, you know, opinion. I'd like to know, you know, what happens to our properties on the value if we ever wanted to sell. That's all I need. All right,
Thank you.
thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. Seeing none, we will close public comment.
Can I make another comment? Is it possible?
Yeah, you can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the Empire Electric wants access for a main line going down that road that I'm putting in, which they want to take to the church for 3-phase.
Okay,
And I was willing to grant an easement for that, for Empire Electric to do that,
okay,
so the church can get power to them, which would also help that property out, because there would be power going through there. And then the water was coming across from County Road L, which I've in talking to them about that, bringing a main
okay,
through that. But the main thing is, of this is to get that, what I've got there stored to the front. So I don't block any of my neighbors with that stuff. The trailer's there for an office. I was gonna build an office out of that, and some other stuff there.
okay. Thank you. Okay, bring it back to the commission. Any follow-up? No? Okay. Then I will entertain a motion.
I still have problems with that, you know, with that zoning. If you were gonna put 3 residential lots, I'd have no problem with that. But that industrial, that's not where it sits. So I'm either gonna recommend to deny it then.
It's whatever you want. I can't make the motion.
Okay, then I'll make a motion to deny to the County Board of Commissioners the proposed amendment application to the Hodge 2 lot minor subdivision, AR 3-9, and industrial rezoning, submitted by Daniel and Debbie Hodge.
Okay. Any second on the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. And okay,
Now, I guess you also need to discuss the other lot, the AR 3-9 lot. And/or if the applicant wants to still create that front 3-acre lot, but not be zoned heavy industrial, AR 3 to 9, I mean, that's an option.
Is that a complete separate application though, or is that?
Yeah. Wouldn't it have to come back as another application?
I think because it's a lesser impact zoning, it can still be discussed.
Okay.
So then.
So I guess you want to do this in parts and
in
pieces?
parts. So then we need to vote on, so the denial is for the industrial.
For the industrial, correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so a vote of yay is a denial for the industrial rezoning, just so we're clear.
So we gotta look at it, right.
Okay, so can we have a vote, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Okay, vote, motion was carried, vote was
To
unanimous
deny, yeah.
to deny. Now, we can entertain a motion on whether or not to still allow the subdivision of the 3 lots with the northernmost lot there being residential AR 3 to 9.
And then the AR 10 to 34?
Correct, the two
lots.
the 2 lots at AR 3 to 9,
Mhm.
and then the remaining lot at AR 10 to 34.
I'm okay with that. Everything, Mike?
I understand what you're doing. I question the method that we're using. I have an application in front of me, and that's what I was voting on. And I don't have an application in front of me for just what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm worried that I need to pay attention only to what is put in front of me and not something that's ad hoc in the meeting.
But isn't the application for the AR also, right? It's
So
not
the-
only for the industrial, but it's for the.
So one lot is for AR 3 to 9 on the back of Raptor Storage.
Right, and the 10 to 34. So it's both of those, correct?
The other lot's already 10 to 34.
Okay, so it's only one.
The 10 to 34 was just the remaining
Okay. I
as it
understand.
already stands.
So what I thought I was voting on was a denial. Well, I can't say that I thought it was different because I heard your explanation, but it concerns me that the application before me was split into 2 different parts. So that's a concern for me,
So
as if it were 2 applications.
Damn it, stop it.
So then it could be a condition of the,
So the application is to subdivide 2 lots, one with AR 3 to 9 zoning, one for heavy industrial zoning.
so if that is the application, then
Yeah.
without a condition, it would be 1, right? 1 application. As a
So there's-
total, as a sum total, it is the 3 to 9 and the industrial.
Mr. Chair, are you familiar with parliamentary procedure pretty well? I'll make it informally. I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, if the goal was to try and approve the AR 3 to 9 and the AR 10 to 34, but not the industrial lot, then shouldn't the procedure have been to recommend approval with a condition that the industrial lot not be included in the application, and then vote yay on
On
the
approval of
application.
that, yeah.
Does-
That
Wouldn't that
seems,
have been the better,
I would agree with you, yep. But it was, yeah, I would agree with you.
and we've already voted without
Correct.
any conditions?
Yeah, we did, that's
Yep.
right, we did. vote.
Yep, we voted
Yeah.
without the
We
conditions.
voted to deny.
The application is then denied as a whole. I would agree.
That makes sense, that makes
Yep.
sense.
I would agree with you.
So then we have to come back for
They-
the
they-
AR 3 to 9
well,
on another
they-
application.
they would have to
be
reapply.
Cricket, to be Cricket,
Correct,
okay.
correct, yep. The first would have had to have been an approval with condition. This was a denial.
Okay, so that would have been, the better way to go would have been to approve
Mm-hmm.
the 3 to 9 with the condition to deny the
Correct.
Industrial.
Yes, and we've already voted.
Yeah, we already voted. Okay, so we're gonna have to come back.
Okay. Motion was carried, vote was unanimous on the denial. Thank you. That's something you'll have to work with Don and Jane on.
4, 3 to 9.
Yeah, if you want to apply for AR 3 to 9 subdivision lots and rezoning.
AC.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
There,
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
All right, number 2. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed 4-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3 to 9 and AR 10 to 34 rezoning application submitted by Braden Jones on property located at 38511 Road H, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 26.29 acres, more or less, located east of Highway 160, north of Road H, situated in Section 36, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico, prime meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
Was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
And would the applicant like to come forward?
I'm not Braden Jones, but I'm serving as his agent this evening.
Okay, and what was your name?
My name's Eric Ireland. I live at 10,000 Road 40.9, Mancos.
Eric Island?
Ireland.
Ireland, okay. Thank you. Jane, can we have department findings, please?
Sure. The applicant proposes to divide his property into 4 lots for residential and agricultural use. The plan is to sell the southeast lot for a home site. There is no other plans for any other development. Dr. Island is going to be buying the southeast lot, the northeast lot, and possibly the southeast lot as well. The zoning, the surrounding properties consist of agricultural, residential, along with Nolan Gravel Pit to the west and Simbeck liners to the north, so there's mixed-use properties there. Their infrastructure is already in, so there's no issues with getting other infrastructure put in.
Okay. Do you have anything else you wanted to?
No, sir.
Okay. Planning department, do we have anything? Mike?
Looks good.
Yeah, so the access for all lots are gonna be off of H?
Correct.
All of them, okay. And the road and utility easement that's shown is gonna be for 1, 2, 3 lots? Or just the 2 back ones?
I believe all three is the plan, sir.
All 3 of those that it's affecting,
They can, correct.
okay?
And Dr. Jones has also been informed that that easement needs to be a 60-foot easement because of the number of lots.
60 foot, right? Yeah.
And he is
60.
quite okay with that.
Okay.
60-foot road on southwest corner lot to stay, okay.
You're purchasing the southeast lot, is that what?
I'm initially purchasing the 5.1 acre southeast lot, and I hope to purchase the 4.5 northern lot down the road.
Gotcha.
Okay, and then the little dirt access road that cuts that corner, that bottom lot, does it truly cut that corner? And is that a dedicated easement?
I believe it is a dedicated
It is a
easement to the
dedicated-
neighbor.
Okay. It is, okay. Great. Okay. I'm just gonna make that condition when we get to it.
Okay,
Okay, I'm good.
all right.
Mike?
I'm good.
Okay, then we will open it to public comment. Come on up, state your name and address.
Wesley Rivera, Rivera, 38626 County Road H. And one thing, I never received any notification this was occurring. I never received a letter, nothing. And I am directly across where this is going to impact. The road is going to probably come off where my road is. And I find it a little disingenuous that the person bought this 3 years ago, knowing it was a historic property. I grew up in Mancos. I've lived there my whole life. Bought this historic property that has been used for agricultural only, and now is wanting to split it up and move more houses. And we all bought out there because we liked being on property and not having neighbors, and now this is going to add more congestion. And I'm just a little disappointed, you know, to say the least. So, and I know Barb, who didn't come here tonight, she is located directly on the right, and she's so upset she couldn't come. And Dan Seltzer, who is my neighbor, he's against it too. He couldn't come either. So, and that's just it. I'm just very upset that they're doing this.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Danette Dillon. I live at 38808 Road H. So Wesley, who was just up here, this is her property right here. This is the proposed subdivision. This is my property right here. As you can see, I've made a map and I've outlined in red all the property owners that surround this that said no, 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 no. Pretty sure no, unconfirmed. No. So this is what the neighbors feel about what is happening. And yes, Wesley did not get a certified letter, as you're supposed to receive, on the property. If you look at this whole map, you guys probably are even more familiar with the colors than we are. This is like agricultural. You know, it's not an area of the county and of the town of Mancos that is subdivision-y. You know, it's every single property around here is used for agricultural, either large or small. Some of us have cows and horses, chickens. Other people actually farm the land and raise crops. So this is a very, very rural agricultural area of the west end of Mancos. So we just wanted you to know that there are 7 neighbors that are bordering this proposed subdivision, and 5 of those neighbors are against it. And I think that's probably all, I was given permission to speak for the neighbors that said no. So you can kind of see on this map, it's too bad we can't put this up here, how many no's there are to this proposed subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sean Potter. My husband Jerry also is here. We live at 38341 Road H. We're on the west side of the Jones property. Yes, that property right there. We were one of the two that did receive a certified letter. Barb was one, and Jerry and I were the other two of the neighbors that we've all checked with. And we are one of the neighbors that is also opposed to this. As Danette had mentioned, it's all basically rural farming, agriculture in this area. And the excess traffic and that would possibly come into play in regards to this. Road H is already, with the coming off the highway there, people run down that road at 60, 70 miles an hour on that straight shot. And it's a 30-mile-an-hour road. So we already get so much going on there. And we like the more quiet lifestyle. And that's why we all bought in those areas. And we've been there for ages. And we don't like to see change, apparently. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Travis Measles, 38808 Road H. To second that point, that road is really at max capacity as it is. Anytime there's a closure on the highway, we get semi trucks, we get gravel trucks, we get bikers. People are constantly jogging down the back road and trying to mix that traffic with, you know, we've got hay tractors going down that road. Used to be you could ride your horse down that road, and that's just impossible already. The idea of having children anywhere near that road is ridiculous at this point. It is just overused and abused, and it's used as a fast shortcut for people already. I just don't see how adding one more residence right there at that most congested point already is in anybody's safety interest. Not to mention, it is just catastrophic ethically based on the fact that that is a historic ranch. I worked that ranch for the Burks when he owned it, and it's some of the last really well-maintained, well-irrigated farmland in this valley, and to turn it into a bunch of houses and have construction going on for the next, 5-10 years. It's a really hard thing to do to your neighbors, to come in from an outside area and subdivide and build and not water and let the prairie dogs take over and let the weeds take over and let your neighbors deal with those problems as well. And then, yeah, it's a real frustrating thing for all of us in that area. But I think predominantly that road just can't sustain that much more traffic. It's already at max.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the commission.
Just a question for Jane, that notification, because those homes are not adjoining, right? That road separation?
I have in the electronic file proof that certified mailers have been mailed out to everyone, that is the adjoining property owners. And right there it
There
is.
they are, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything
So
else?
just to clarify, the Burks owned all of this. They split this one off, and then when I was here in 2019, they split this one off, and then they did an exemption and split this one off, and then they sold this to the current owner.
Okay.
If you look at the map, and this one that's green, actually, GIS had not switched it to AR 3-9 when that single lot development was done. So all of these are subdivision lots around it, except for the this leg of this AR 35 plus property.
Thank you. Mike, did you have something?
Yeah, so the requested zoning, there, it looks like there's gonna be 3 lots separated, or 3 new lots created, and the zoning for those is gonna be AR 3-9. And when I look at the surrounding properties, there's 10 listed as surrounding this particular property, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are AR 3-9, so the AR 3-9 is not unusual, and it fits right in with everything that's there already.
Correct.
I have a question for Dawn, to try and get an idea of how much traffic would be added. Are there any numbers that the planning department uses for adding one residential home? How much traffic that adds to the road that leads to it?
We don't have any facts or statistics on that. So I couldn't really speculate. If you're, and I don't know on the covenants if it's gonna be restricted to one residence per lot. But, you know, you're probably looking at 2 cars twice a day. So, what, 8 round trips or 4 round trips?
So covenants haven't been established, besides the minimum?
Correct.
Okay.
So if that were the assumption, then these 3 lots would add a total of 12 round trips per day. Just a wild assumption, basically,
Yeah.
which is still below the thresholds.
Of 15.
Right, for
that we
one
worry about.
property as far as traffic, correct.
Yeah.
I understand. Public comment, I'm sorry, but public comment is closed at this time.
That's all I have.
Okay, John?
Okay, nope, I'm good.
Okay. Then, I will entertain a motion.
I'd like to try one.
Go for it. How about that?
I move to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed 4-lot moderate subdivision and AR 3-9 and AR 10-34 rezoning application submitted by Braden Jones based on the following. A, the proposed use is in conformity with the code. B, the proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area. And C, public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
Any conditions?
No conditions.
I do. That the new owners are notified that the county does have a land use code. Okay.
New owners are notified of land use code. Montezuma County land use code.
You just notified him.
Well, I know, yeah, but
Well, there's no owners, we don't know where they are, you know.
there's still 2 other lots unaccounted for, right? Yeah.
Maybe they could be in the, because it's gonna have to have covenants, right?
It's minimum covenants.
Minimum covenants, that's where it's installed.
Mhm.
Yeah, a note of that, okay, to that effect. I second the motion.
Second by Commissioner Hernandez. And we'll call a vote.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye?
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Motion was carried. Vote was unanimous. Good luck. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yep.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, number 3, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed rezoning application from agricultural to AR 10-34 submitted by Ricky and Melissa Carver, agent Randy Carver, on property located at 12684 Highway 491, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 31.52 acres, more or less, located south of Road N, east of Highway 491, situated in Section 9, Township 37 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Can the applicant come forward?
We have Agent Carver in the building. He thinks he's FBI.
Should've wore a different hat.
Jane, can we have to planning department findings, please?
Sure. Mr. and Mrs. Carver are requesting their property be rezoned agricultural residential in order to complete a boundary line adjustment application with their west neighbors, Warren and Melissa Allman. The property use will continue to be agricultural pasture uses. It'll continue to be what it is. The area, the surrounding properties consist of agricultural, residential, commercial, and industrial uses. All infrastructure is already on the property, and there is no proposal to add any other residentials on there. They're just changing the zoning to make it more easily to put into a boundary line adjustment.
Gotcha. Okay. Anything else you want to add? No? Okay.
Do it.
Okay. Commission, do you have anything to add? Questions?
That's how it's gonna look, okay.
I really appreciate seeing where the boundary's gonna be.
Right.
That really helps me
Yes.
have an idea of what's going on.
Right, yeah, so they're looking to convey the 14 acres to the west property, leaving this remaining. Currently, they're AGZ zoned. A requirement of that is a minimum of 20 acres, and since they'll drop below that 20-acre threshold, they are looking to rezone AR 10-34.
So this is with the next property, or next application as well.
Right, yeah, the next one is the rezoning of this one from AR 3 to 9 up to 10 to 34 with the addition
To add it.
of that.
With the addition of the 14, or the 19 and a half acres.
Yeah, this total would be 19 and a half.
That boundary line in between will go away.
This would be this would be the.
Gotcha.
The cut.
Just make sure I'm following. Okay.
There's one thing, on that boundary line adjustment, we did do the 30-foot setback on the plat, so. It was basically, the agreement was 14 acres, and to do that, we came within 30 feet of that north lean-to there, so everything should be kosher.
There,
Okay.
okay. So that's in compliance with that line now? Okay, so as a setback, okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else from the commission? Okay, and we will open it to public comment. Anybody like to comment? Nope, seeing none. We will close public comment, bring it back to the commission. Any further discussion?
I'm good.
Seeing none, we'll entertain a motion.
You did a good job the first one.
I move to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a proposed rezoning application from AGZ to AR 10 to 34 submitted by Ricky and Melissa Carver, Agent Randy Carver, based on the following. A, the proposed use is in conformity with the code. B, the proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area. And C, public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. No further discussion. We'll call a vote.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye?
Commissioner Lynch,
Aye.
Okay, motion was carried, vote was unanimous. And you might as well just stay right there. Okay. We'll have.
Commissioner Farian,
Yeah, okay.
That makes sense.
Getting ready there. Roll call, please. Yep, here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay, number 4, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed rezoning application from AR 3-9 to AR 10 to 34 submitted by Warren and Rhonda Allman, Agent Randy Carver, on property located at 12898 Highway 491, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 5.51 acres more or less, located south of Road N, east of Highway 491, situated in Section 9, Township 37 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico, prime meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Okay. And can we have planning department findings, please?
Just like the other applicant, the applicants are requesting their property be rezoned to AR 10 to 34 in order to complete a boundary line adjustment application with their east neighbors, Ricky and Melissa Carver. The boundary line adjustment will change their acreage from 5.51 acres to 19.51 acres, resulting in the need to correct the current zoning. The land usage will continue to be pasture land.
Okay. Thank you. Any planning discussion on this? No. And we will open it to public comment. Okay. Seeing none, we will close public comment, bring it back to the commission. Any further discussion?
Nope. Not for me.
Then we can, I will entertain,
This makes perfect sense now.
yeah,
One little drawing.
missing this
Try to
portion.
put
in the
Picture's
packet.
worth 1,000 words.
Yeah. Entertain a motion at this point.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the County Board of Commissioners to approve the proposed rezoning application from AR 3-9 to AR 10 to 34, submitted by Warren and Rhonda Allman, Agent Randy Carver, based on the following. Proposed use is in conformity with the code. Proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other properties in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
Any conditions?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Commissioner Lynch. No further discussion. We can call a vote.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Motion was carried. Vote was unanimous. Good luck.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you. And roll call, please.
And item number 5 is withdrawn.
Number 5 is withdrawn.
Oh, that's right, we're not doing this one.
No action needs to be taken there.
Okay.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Yeah?
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
All right. Number 6, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed 2-lot moderate subdivision application submitted by Andrew and Danielle Lauman on property located 17593 Highway 145, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 16.93 acres, more or less, located east of Highway 184, north of Highway 145, situated in Section 17, Township 37 North, Range 15 West, New Mexico, prime meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
Would the applicant like to come forward? Hello. Jane, can we have department findings, please?
Sure. The Layman's proposed to divide their property into 2 residential parcels. The property is currently zoned commercial, and the applicants wish to keep it that way. The property will create 1 3-acre parcel and 1 13.93-acre parcel. The surrounding properties consist of residential, commercial, industrial. The property to the north is the U.S. Forest Service. To the east is the Dolores Schools RE4 bus barn. There is already utilities on the property, so all the infrastructure is there. It is zoned commercial because there is a cell tower on that property.
There we go.
Okay, thank you. Anything you would like to add? Okay. Commissioners?
Yeah, the new boundaries for the 3-acre lot, are the setbacks gonna be honored there? Looks like there's a building that's somewhat close to the front there where the lot line goes. Like the lot lines to the east of this particular building, is that gonna be more than 30 feet away?
Yes, sir.
Whereas I guess on commercial property, it's different, isn't it?
Commercial to commercial is 25, or commercial to industrial, so that would be a 25-foot setback.
Yeah,
Commercial to residential is 50 foot.
yeah.
Commercial to the highway is, the highway road right-of-way is 50 feet.
I have a question out of curiosity. Do you have any idea whether that cell tower is 5G or not?
Based upon my cell phone, I would say yes, but I don't know.
Okay,
I have no clue.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Whose is it?
I don't know if it is or not, they just put some new antennas up, but they didn't indicate it was 5G.
5G. I don't think anything around here is 5G.
I don't think it would work to have random standalone 5G towers, because if you don't have a whole series and have a network, you pretty much aren't getting anything better, so.
Is that a Verizon tower or?
Honestly, I don't know,
Oh,
because when we bought the place, somebody else has that lease or owns that land, and they rent through so we have no rights to the tower.
Thank you.
Somebody else owns that? It's not yourself?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I wish we did.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're only here to concern the little 3-acre lot.
breaking that big section up
Yeah, we're gonna,
into
yeah,
that.
cut that one up, okay. And that's gonna be remaining to yourself,
Yes, the larger section,
the large section?
yeah.
Okay,
We'll put the 3 acres in the house up for sale.
okay. Then I only have a condition, that's all I have.
There will need to be an easement through the parcel to the 3 acres.
Okay. All right, then. Then we will open it to public comment. Anybody from the public to comment? Nope, seeing none, we'll bring it back. Close public comment. Any further discussion from the commission? Then I will entertain a motion.
Hold on. Okay. I'll make a motion to, where am I at? I lost it. There we are, up here, sorry. Ooh. To approve, to recommend the County Board of Commissioners to approve the proposed 2-lot modern subdivision application submitted by Andrew and Danielle Lehman based on the following. Proposed use is in conformity with the code. Proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on the other property in the area, and public utilities and services available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. Condition I have is that the property owner, whoever the new one is, to be notified there's a county land use code, and also be notified, Tri-State be notified about the change of ownership or that this lot has been created. They have that power line coming through there, and it's a good thing just to notify them that there's a new lot. That's it.
Don, did you say that there was an easement there already?
There will need to be
Yeah.
an easement.
That needs to be a condition.
That'll be conditioned to, okay,
Yeah.
that there is an easement from the existing dirt road to the proposed new lot.
Just to let the commissioners know, usually on the plats, when there is like a major utility like Tri-State, they have to sign off on the Mylar.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think it's only the electric transmission line that is impacted, but without knowing where those underground fuel oil lines are, or gas lines, I should say.
Yeah, anytime there is a major like pipeline or utility of any kind, then they are asked to sign the Mylar.
Okay. Okay. Good to know.
Okay,
So
so,
they will have to apply with CDOT for an updated access permit.
For land?
An updated access
Oh,
permit.
okay. Off of 45145, okay.
okay, so the condition is land use code notification for the new property owner,
Right,
that Tri-State is notified,
right, and it looks like they're gonna have to sign the Mylar, so that
Yep.
means they will be notified.
and then that a
Easement,
recorded easement be placed on the
access easement,
access easement
yeah,
to the new property. Okay,
good.
I'll second the motion.
okay. No further discussion, we can call a vote.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Aye,
Commissioner Lynch.
Aye.
Okay, motion was carried, vote was unanimous, good luck. Thank you. And the next one. Can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
here,
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
Okay. And number 7, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will be reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed high-impact permit application submitted by Maverick Inc., agent Matt Ryder, located at 7255 Highway 160, 491, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 10 acres more or less, situated in Section 4, Township 35 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico, Prime Meridian. Located, what am I missing here? Is this doubled up? Located west of Highway 16491, north of Road G. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, sir?
Was evidence of letters to adjoining neighbors and mineral owners submitted?
Yes, sir?
And was the sign posted?
Yes, sir?
The applicant want to come forward?
Done. Door slot.
Oh, it's a door.
You gotta push the button on the far left.
Yeah.
On the left where it says push here, push there.
Well, not everybody sees that light.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Okay.
Jane, can we have planning department findings?
Sure. The proposed project is a Maverick convenience store with fueling pumps. The surrounding properties consist of agricultural, residential, and commercial uses. The access is off of Highway 16491 for the Fox Run subdivision. The applicant and representative have been in conversations with CDOT for this site. CDOT hasn't given an official permit for the site at this time. It is their recommendation that the applicant is required to get an access permit and fulfill the terms of the access permit with the county's land use actions, and make it a requirement of the county's permits. The infrastructure is already near the site, so there will be no problem with that. We did get a letter from the City of Cortez. Dear Planning Commissioners, the City of Cortez Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the above referenced project at their meeting on November 7th, 2023. We are excited to see this entry corridor begin to receive a new development and improvements. In addition, we would like you to consider the following comments. The project is located within the 1 mile area of influence and will be served by Montezuma Water District 1, whose water source is the City of Cortez. We request that the City Public Works Director issue a letter of adequate water availability prior to any final approval by the county or the district. While we understand that access is direct to the highway, improvements are planned and CDOT is the permitting authority. We also have concerns regarding the intersection of Road G.2 and request that CDOT consider that intersection in their review. Should the developer desire building permit services, the city will consider providing those services with an acceptable fee agreement. And that's basically it from the city.
Okay. Did you have anything you'd like to add?
No, not at this time.
Okay,
Happy to answer any questions.
thank you. Okay. Commissioners?
Yep. Don, what's the distance from G.2 to J? Can you give me a distance?
0.2 miles.
0.2 miles?
That's why it's G.2.
Oh. Okay.
Or roughly
Now
thereabout.
I know.
Yeah, it's,
Not even a quarter of a mile then, okay. My question was gonna be for that access, if that was just gonna be one, I mean, the drawings show one access, ingress egress, and I was just curious if that was something CDOT was gonna look at or require another one at the bottom end, at the south end.
Yeah, as of now, it's just going to be one access. That's what Maverick's proposing. And so far, CDOT hasn't notified us of them speculating on adding additional access. I think with this layout, what it does is reduce the access intrusions along the highway there and consolidates it into one, you know, across from road G.2. We always try to align our access points with the opposite end of the road, you know, those access points as well. And so there's kind of already, you know, that to determine where our access point goes based on existing access on the opposite side.
Okay, so then it's Maverick's intent just to use that one
Yep.
access.
All right, yep.
Just thinking
Yeah,
about
there's
the
an
other-
existing divided concrete barrier in the highway right here.
You're gonna, yeah, you're gonna have to have that, yeah. It's just the other Maverick has multiple accesses.
Yeah,
The
we
one on
do.
160, yeah.
You know, our goal is to keep commercial traffic, commercial truck drivers, RVs, and those using the canopy in the backside of the site, separated from like your passenger vehicles for a safety standpoint. And so that's why coming off of G.2, you've got a large access at the back end and then the more narrow access in the front.
Right.
And that's to keep our customers kind of separated.
Separated, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
and
The
the-
front pumps to the rear pumps.
And the median is a big influence on how our access lays out. A lot of times CDOT does not allow modification of existing medians.
Okay. What was gonna happen to that overhead electric line?
So we're working with Empire Electric to relocate that
Okay.
transmission line, either keep it aerial as it is or bury it underground. Where it is right now, crossing our property, the lines aren't within danger of our trucks, you know, hitting them. But if Empire Electric ever needed to service those lines, we want to keep them to the north side of our site so it doesn't disrupt our business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's no poles on the property, just on the front?
There's currently poles that kind of go where, I guess you see the green shading of our parking lot next to the dumpster enclosure, and then.
Oh, there's one there, okay.
Yeah, so, or a little bit south of that. So it's right in the smack dab of where we would asphalt.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
yeah, that
Well-
was something we identified early on, and so we need to.
Okay, yeah, at least you're talking to them. That was my concern.
Sure.
Yeah. That's it for me.
Okay.
So in a project like this, the turning lanes to the access point, are those all your responsibility, or how does that work with CDOT? Does that?
Yeah, so that's how we proposed the, access is to allow decel and turning lanes and stuff like that. And if CDOT approves, likely they're gonna require that our contractor do the striping. And then if any additional pavement is required, we would add that to the road.
Yeah. And CDOT hasn't gotten back with you with a final?
No, I think they're withholding comments until the county has processed this application further along.
Okay. And what was the comment in it with CDOT? Was it CDOT that had a comment about the county's approval, something, including something in the permit? What was that?
Our approval would require that they obtain a CDOT access permit.
It becomes a
Okay.
condition.
So that would be a condition we would need to add? Okay. And then in regard to the city's requests, one of the conditions would need to be an application to the,
Well, they
for water?
requested that the city public works send a letter, but they don't directly provide water. Montezuma Water District 1 provides water to this site, and they have already emailed us that they have availability.
So that's no longer a
We'll
concern.
go ahead, and I have already requested the Public Works Director to send that letter, just so we have that on file. But the District 1 buys water from the city of Cortez, but District 1 is responsible for who and where they supply it in their system.
Okay.
And they've confirmed it. Sufficient supply.
Yes.
There wouldn't be any reason for CDOT to think about a light there? I mean, it's only a quarter mile from G.
Probably not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know those trucks that are on that South Broadway. Somebody could be waiting in that for a while.
Part of the analysis is looking at queuing lengths, and so how many vehicles stack up, and that kind of determines our striping for that turn lane,
Okay.
and then the taper.
Yeah, it's gonna be coming out of there, going toward Cortez. Is gonna be the problem, really, yeah.
Is that as a result of a study that CDOT would do, or how do you get that information?
So our traffic engineer prepares a traffic impact study based on CDOT standards, and also based on what CDOT has put out in a scoping memo to us. And so they require certain things to be analyzed, certain intersections within a radius to be analyzed. And so our traffic engineer submitted a traffic impact analysis to CDOT and came up with recommendations based off of the trip generation and the existing trips on the road. And then that their access manual, stipulates what a certain amount of trips requires. And so our design is based off of that.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. And we will open it to public comment. If you'd like to comment, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
I'm Hardy Tozier. I'm at 7353 Highway 491-160. I'm the neighboring property just to the north of it, right there. My property has an access easement on the existing driveway that they're proposing to use for their main access right there. Yesterday morning, I was trying to pull out of there with a semi, and I sat there for 10 minutes trying to turn to the left to go into Cortez. That's not uncommon. I mean, it's a bear to get out there. I mean, I don't know what they're gonna do, especially with that median there, without something huge, changing that up. That's a big concern that my family has. I mean, we have just like an ag property right there on the north side of it. We have concerns over, and I understand that some business is probably gonna go in there, but still, just the extra traffic, the extra, people hanging around, being in that area, as far as, I don't know when and where any talks would come about as far as a fencing agreement, as far as some privacy fencing or something, because our property is, we border the whole north side of this proposed plan here. The water issue, I don't know, whenever Chad Fouts put in to try to do the slaughterhouse up there on top of the hill, right there, that was a big topic that was brought up then, that there wasn't enough water in the supply line there to hardly be able, and that came directly from the Blue Door Water District personnel there, that they didn't think there was gonna be enough water in the supply line. I don't know whether how they've upgraded their supply line. They said with the Loves going in across the road, and they reinstating their water tap, We had actually had inquired about purchasing an additional water tap for our property, and we was told that, hey, you need to get that purchased immediately because we're about to run out of room in our line to supply any more water. So I was just, that was kind of news to me, that then it sounds like the water's just readily available. I don't know, I guess it says in here that there's no floodplain on the property. I don't know whether anybody's let the water know that or not, because it is, whenever the water comes under the highway right there at G.2, it comes under, well, down the highway from G.2, it comes under, and then it's created just a cesspool out in front right there. I don't know what's gonna be done about that. I really hope that something doesn't happen where then, like I see over at the Loves, where they've built their base up. I mean, I just drove through the port yesterday in the truck, and I drove around there, and I mean, it's up to the door on the semi. They've built that parking lot up. And if they end up doing something like that there, I don't want then to get all of this excess water, then just drainage water shoved off onto my property to the north, because I can't afford to build my property up like Love's did over there. I don't know what the plan is as far as that drainage there. That water comes under the highway, and I don't know, it kind of battles now whether it's gonna go to the south and go down through back. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, that's your 3 minutes, sir. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Okay.
You have 3 minutes for comment. I'm sorry.
Okay, I only have 3 minutes. I'm going to talk fast.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm his mother-in-law. And
Please state your name and address.
my
ma'am.
name is Christy Ross. I live at 6520 Road 24.5. I come down G every single day. I make that corner, and just with the changes that are going on because of Love's, it's a nightmare. Oftentimes, you gotta slow down for the trucks because they're not paying any attention. They're there to work. But Hardy's comment about the water is huge. I mean, it's washed out all of us down there in times, and we were just talking about it. We don't know how long the water sat there well, it's moved now. I don't care what the flood zone says. I'm a real estate appraiser, and I know I run floods all the time. That is a flood zone. It may not show it on their little documentation, but water sits there almost all year long. It's gonna have to go somewhere. And it can't go onto the kids' place. That's not right. Can't go onto the other neighbor's place. That's not right. And I am very concerned about them getting water as well, because I heard the same exact thing. They had to expand my line because they're out of water. So they gave us a bigger line so that hopefully we could have better pressure, which we don't. And I'm very concerned about all of that, but I'm also concerned about the fact that there are kids that live right there too. And that one access is, one kid walks to school there every morning. I mean, are you sure it's safe to have kids getting on the school bus right there at that one exit? There seems like there might be a better place close by. Might cost more money, but there might be better access that won't influence or affect the traffic. And I have been hit already and totaled a vehicle. I was sitting, waiting, trying to turn off of the highway, and I was rear-ended, and it totaled my vehicle, and it about killed the poor man that hit me. You've got a major issue there with your access, ingress and egress. It's bad. It's going to be bad. And I don't think that's fair to those of us who live down there in that area. And I love it that end of town is growing, but I'm not sure that this is the best location for that property. I just don't. If they could get more property and get better access, get additional access, let's do something like that. I don't know.
I don't know if any of the other property around there is for sale. But I hope that you guys really pause and think about this before you vote on it, to just, oh, it's great, yeah, let's bring it in. You need to think about the people that live there and all of the stuff that's happening there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah. My name's Ty Backstrom. I live the 23915 Route G, just south of the proposed area. I don't know. I'm just, my big concern would be the drainage off of the highway and off of their, where their facility will be. So just want to say, yeah, let's look into that. And I think the drainage is supposed to go all the way north and drain into McElmo Creek. And just as long as CDOT looks into that, it'd be great to solve that problem. It's been a problem ever since they redid the intersection about, whatever, 25 years ago. And other than that, you know, I'm all for development and whatnot. And I'd like to just meet this guy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Gene Backstrom, Howard Backstrom, Ty's partner. And I don't have anything against future development. You know, you're going to have it anyway. But there are some issues on that corner that are going to have to be straightened up. CDOT, I guess, is who's the culprit. The drainage, there's going to have to be a comprehensive drainage state drainage plan to get that water back to McElmo Creek. I don't have anything to say. I'm just gathering information. So, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Then we will close public comment, bring it back to the commission.
Yeah, address the drainage if you would, please.
Sure. So,
It's also on the map. This is your
I don't
drainage
see any
plan.
elevations,
yeah.
that's what I was looking for.
So it sounds like our proposed development is already on an impervious surface, just by what I'm hearing from public comments, that drainage is pretty poor. What we're gonna do is add a lot more impervious surface by asphalting over the site plan. Everywhere you see gray will be moderate to heavy duty asphalt. And so as part of all of our developments, we have to account for the sheet flow, the storm water that hits that asphalt. So what we have right now are two stormwater basins. We have one on the west side of the property and one on the south side of the property. And then part of our stormwater drainage plan will have, catch basins and pipes to convey that water that is captured from our parking lot and asphalt and bring it to those stormwater basins.
Okay.
From the stormwater basins, it's either going to slowly perk down into the ground if the soils allow that, or it's going to be retained and, through evaporation. So that's...
Okay. And that's going to be sheet water?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so when the
Nothing
rain
piped,
hits
nothing piped.
the asphalt, we have to account for it. I'm not sure if CDOT's going to have any requirements for stormwater on their roadway and how it affects the Maverick development, but everything within our site plan constraints, we do have to account for and mitigate.
Is that mitigation based off of just averages in the area? Is it done on a site-to-site basis? You know, as far as, like was stated, a significant amount of water comes underneath the highway to that side. Are those basins accounting for that potential issue as well?
So that's something that I'm going to have to go back to my engineer and see what could be done about, off-site water coming into our land. Obviously, we don't want to increase the problem it already is. We want to mitigate for anything we create and then see what would impact us. As far as like sizing the basins, it's based off of the region's annual rainfall, and we have to account for like a 500-year and 100-year storm event. So if there was a major storm, we have to be able to account for all that water and contain it on our site. If it's like the worst monsoon, that's what we have to plan for. So there's always an extra capacity than what you typically see in a pond. So that's kind of how it works. If my engineer was here, he could probably explain it a lot better, but that's the layman's way.
But you're talking about only designing for the water that lands on your site, not having to deal with anything that's coming in from around you.
Right. So the hearing about the stormwater coming off the road and affecting these properties is something we're going to have to further investigate.
Okay.
I would imagine it's part of CDOT's review process, but I'm not involved as heavily in the CDOT review as my engineer is.
Because even though it says it's not in a floodplain, there's plenty of places throughout the county that aren't in floodplain or not classified as such.
Yeah.
But you can clearly see water builds up in them all over the place, right? And accumulates just sheet water, like you said, runoff, different things like that. So I think it comes back to, are your margins of error based off of what the map says or an actual study for that area, right?
We do calculations based off of the data available with like NOAA, and there's quite a few different resources that publish and record rainfall events, and it goes way back. And so our engineer, professional engineer, civil engineer, takes those into account with the amount of impervious area and does the calculation to size up that basin. And so, we have catch basins throughout our property so that we don't have water from one side of the property going across the other and potentially freezing if it's a winter event. We want to convey it under pipes so that our customers are safe walking across our property. Typically with flood zones, what I've seen is that they're adjacent to rivers or natural drainages like arroyos, and so when there's a rain event and they rise, looking at LiDAR imagery and seeing the elevation, it's usually there's a way for that water to make its way into that area. What it sounds like is just a typical rain event. Here in this particular location, the water doesn't percolate down into the ground very well, and it doesn't evaporate fast enough, so it's creating this flooding. And so that's something that we'll have to take into consideration. Right now, our calculations are definitely based off of our site within the boundaries and the amount of asphalt that we're adding, impervious surface area that we're adding to it.
I am concerned about the intersection as well. Cause I've been on that, come out of that side
Yeah.
up by the old trading post and whatnot, and it's not easy to get across and get up heading towards Cortez. I do think that's an issue.
Is that something that only CDOT can address, or is there any way that anyone else can influence that?
Well, I mean, cause I think and correct me if I'm wrong, but can't CDOT require change based off of build? I mean, we see that in subdivisions and whatnot. They have to put in a turning lane, that kind of stuff to the highway because
But that's,
of
yeah,
that
that's,
growth.
that's part of the CDOT's access permit.
Okay,
We can't stipulate what
what they do.
CDOT
Right.
does or makes them do.
Right. That's one of my main
But
concerns,
we
though.
can make comments or ask, because again, further to the north, then you've got the change of speed. But in here is where it's come back to 55. So I'm wondering if they could extend that 45 a little further down to bypass this.
I'm sure that they will.
Okay, yeah. Or make it a calm zone where it is 45 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure the 45 would probably
And I
extend
think-
past that intersection.
Okay, I think if they did that and then they actually made that, when you're turning out of this facility, heading to Cortez, you make that separate lane that allows you to merge into traffic. I think that would work. Still gonna sit for a while.
And just to address the water issue, well,
Yeah, and I'm
I
still
don't know
not
about
finished with that.
addressing it, but, so Love's, the old M&M was here when they redesigned this whole intersection. Everything drained north to south and went in the detention ponds. Love's is reversing that. They're draining everything from south to north. Their underground detention basin is here, and it overflows and dumps into CDOT's right of way right here.
Really?
When I first saw that, I contacted them to make sure that CDOT was aware of this, and do they have permission? And it had been through 2 reviews with CDOT and was moving forward at the time.
Okay.
So yeah, the condition here, this fills up full of water, and it
And
seeps
it drains south.
through here. Yeah, everything
Naturally
drains
south, okay.
into right here, and this, so obviously they're gonna have to, with their geotech studies and their construction standards, they're gonna raise this site and their detention ponds. Now CDOT's gonna have to address how all this water is dealt with Love's dumping it right back into here. I don't know if it's supposed to run back south and go in the detention pond. It made no sense to me, but that's
Yeah, how they would
the
cross it.
information we've been given. I don't know why they would dump it in there right away when they could put it directly in a pond off of 5 acres, but that's not where the design's going on Love's. So what CDOT comes up with over here, I could not even speculate.
So we're saying that there is an underground pipe, drainage pipe from the east side of 145 flowing to the west side right at G2, correct?
Right at G1 is what he's saying.
That I don't know.
What, I thought I heard people say that it was at G2. Public comment.
So somewhere in between here.
Water problem, a drainage problem, clear down to Road G.
Okay.
Okay, but, yeah, okay, well, if there isn't a pipe bringing water from the east to the west, then there's no reason to address it with your water. Yeah. But if there is an irrigation, or if there is a drainage pipe under 145 within your property, then I think we need to address that. And I don't see it on the map, so I
Yeah,
don't know.
we,
That's okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
We're talking to this gentleman, go ahead.
yeah, so we've done a survey of the site, topographic, ALTA survey, and existing stormwater drainage pipes were not identified within the property boundaries.
No,
Yeah.
that drainage pipe runs into CDOT's right
Into
of way.
CDOT.
From their right of way to their right of way.
Okay. It's
Now, if
in their
if
right-of-way.
CDOT's
Yeah, but the
flooding out
retention-
other properties, CDOT's gonna have to help
Okay.
address that issue.
And that's where I was going. Okay, they're gonna have to address it. Because
Same
it's gonna
as you
end up-
can't dump on other people's property, CDOT can't dump on other people's property.
Oh, yeah?
Which just adds to the, concern.
Yes, it's gonna add to the concern.
So
Well,
it,
I mean,
it's a concern here tonight. At what level of a problem does it get addressed?
We have no control over CDOT or their right of ways.
Well, so we've been made aware of a problem with water flow in this area. Are you saying that there really isn't anything we have the capacity to influence in regard to that?
No, but I'm sure that during construction, they're gonna elevate this site.
Yeah,
right.
but that doesn't help the neighbors.
Well, but water's already
Well, the
in that
water
area.
won't go west through that site anymore. It'll have to stay contained in that
Right.
right of way. Now, how it gets somewhere and goes somewhere, I can't speculate.
That's CDOT's problem.
But we
Well-
also have to be concerned about the disbursement of their water.
But he's saying it's all gonna go west and south with the to the detention basins, according to the drawings. This one's gonna go to the south and the water will go to the west, so everything's gonna drain that way and catch basins in between to flow underwater.
I understand, but even though they don't have control of the corridor, the CDOT corridor, right?
Right.
They raise their property, that changes the flow of that water, potentially dispersing it upon the neighbors.
Well, we don't know that the water, as it sits today, when it leaves the pipe and flows into CDOT property, we don't know that it goes to the west. We know it goes south, but we don't know that it goes west. So it stays in that corridor.
Well, but
And all they're
I've
gonna do
I've
is-
seen that property.
Okay,
And there's alkali that comes straight to the surface after it's like marsh almost
on their property.
on the property.
Okay, okay.
And
So then they are gonna add to it or block it.
Right, so they're gonna raise that up, right? So then
Correct.
that disperses CDOT corridor water
Correct?
somewhere, we don't know where, right? And then we're dispersing water, I mean, yeah, we've got retention ponds here, but that's, okay, so if the retention ponds are calculated for the surface area of that one place,
Correct.
we're not also figuring in the CDOT water.
That's been trapped now.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I didn't realize that water went past that property line.
Yeah.
You follow what we're saying?
yeah,
Okay.
so there's a large parcel that exists, but our site plan doesn't cover the entire parcel. So I was on the site today, but didn't investigate the southern portion. I stayed relatively around the north area. So I'm curious about the comments regarding flooding, where the water stands when it does. Is it flooding the entire property or the southern portion? We would only raise our site to meet our grades for slope of the asphalt. We have a maximum slope that we allow, because if it gets icy, we don't want trucks sliding, we don't want people falling. So we would only raise the site to make the grades work within that site plan. I think our site plan probably stops a little bit short of the last 1/3, the southern 1/3. So, and we don't have any plans to develop further south. The site plan is our plan. So I'm curious where the stormwater typically stands when it happens.
Well, I think if you did, had a hydrology study of that pipe that's flowing into CDOT's property. Because you're like, you know, you're gonna, well, by raising your property, you're gonna create a barrier. You're gonna create you know.
Yeah, sure.
And we just
Yeah.
wanna make sure that
I'm
the
following.
water coming out of there is, which normally would go further west, is now gonna go south. And is that enough area for it to flow south? That extra water?
Right. Yeah, sounds like we need to get with CDOT and understand how their stormwater management works currently.
Right, right.
Or how that was designed and how it obviously is failing in certain portions.
And knowing CDOT or Caltrans, whatever, you know, they're gonna have water flowing underneath their highway. It's gonna, supposed to stay in this little area.
Right,
Which
within the
obviously,
right of
according to
way.
people, it doesn't.
Right.
It flows out west. So again, you're gonna trap it. And if that water could still flow south, then we're good. It's just gonna be a matter of working numbers. That's it. But if it needs to be addressed, I think.
Yeah, I do think it needs to be addressed, and I think it also, you know, there's gonna be development in that corridor, whether it's you or somebody else at some point. But I do think that there should be some compromise to some degree for the adjoining neighbors. You're putting in a large, brightly lit, highly congested, you know, gas station, truck station essentially, right? With no consideration from a light pollution, sound pollution, anything for those adjoining neighbors. And I do think that needs to be considered.
Well, access for sure, because this gentleman has access across that property, legal access, so, I mean, you're not gonna cut him off, obviously, but
No.
at the same time, you know, we can see that, we just discussed the left-hand turn going into Cortez, and now you're gonna have cars backed up, and he's gonna try, just leaving his own property. Now he's gotta wait for those cars to go, so that he can
Yeah.
go. Yeah, so.
Yeah, right now, our goal has been to meet county code, what's been adopted, and address how we meet the code or what we need to do that doesn't meet code. And so there's a matrix part of this application that kind of goes point by point. So that's been our first step, is to make sure that we meet county code with our development.
Don, is that contour 5-foot interval?
Correct. So whatever it is, 60, 59, 40.
40.
59, 40 is here, down the road. This is 59, 35.
5 feet.
59, 35 over to 59, 30 to
It's going that
59,
way.
25.
Mhm. Okay. Well,
So I mean, the
understand.
simple solution to start with is CDOT blocks off the drainage that goes under the highway to the west, and they divert it to
All
go
the
to
way
their
down that
detention pond.
To that retention pond, yeah.
Because they're letting Love's move the water further north
Yeah.
to
That would
go,
make sense.
I don't know where, but obviously you can see water sits there at
There's water, yeah.
the port.
Okay.
Yeah, typically, most jurisdictions require that if a applicant has stormwater basins and, you know, sometimes there is a outfall or outflow of that stormwater basin, it has to flow at a rate to pre-developed rates. So if it was undeveloped land, there's a calculation for that. We couldn't add an additional water that isn't already being part of their storm system. So any water that comes off of the property we're looking to develop into CDOT, we're not allowed to increase that.
Yeah.
So that's part of the stormwater plan and study, is to make sure we don't do that.
But there's gonna, what I am imagining is there's a certain amount of water that is flowing onto your property from
That's what it
CDOT
sounds
or
like,
wherever.
right.
It's coming to your property, and this is gonna be in addition to what lands on your property. But when you take care of your property only, where's this water that's flowing to your property gonna go? It's gonna go to other people's property in higher amounts than it did before.
Yeah, potentially.
Because your property is no longer a place for it to percolate and evaporate.
Right,
Exactly.
right. We're no longer a storage pond for
Yeah.
CDOT. And that's CDOT's problem that they need to address, and we'll
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely push on.
because anybody that even builds a house there is gonna raise that up, so it's really not this parcel's problem.
Yeah,
Because any development there is gonna stop CDOT water from running onto their property, whether it's this,
Agreed.
Well,
but this is on
application
a-
or-
This is on a large scale.
This is a large scale, exactly, Zach. That's
well,
what I
this
was
is,
gonna say.
it's zoned a commercial lot, so at the highway, you're looking at large scale
Yeah.
probably all the time.
I just think it needs to be looked at, that's all. Yeah,
Sure,
just
yeah,
look
I
at it,
agree.
yeah.
I don't wanna have a problem with stormwater. That wasn't my doing.
No, if CDOT's dumping it there, that's a real problem.
Yeah,
We'll
I
probably get
agree,
into a
but
battle.
it's still something that needs, it can't be just pushed down the line to somebody else's problem.
Sure.
Right? And so that, and then,
But
I have no, I would understand that your sheet water, your rainfall, for the footprint that you have, and your grade would be taken care of by the basins that you have, right?
Mhm.
But we're not also accounting for the other, right? Which I know is not your fault. That said,
Sure.
it's something that needs to be fixed and addressed because it can't be pushed off on somebody else
Right.
and become their problem. That's my concern, along with the considerations for the noise and the light and the traffic for the adjoining neighbors, for anybody trying to get out of that easement. Those are my
Yeah,
concerns.
I think that can be conditions, you know.
and I don't think anybody in this room is against having the business there. There are some concerns that have been raised as a result of the location, and how are those concerns addressed in a way that they hopefully solve the problem? And it's not your problem necessarily, because it's just the area. It's the area's problem, and it would be nice if there were a way to figure it out and get it solved.
Yeah, and I wish I had an answer before you this evening. I wasn't aware that there was a stormwater issue from CDOT flowing onto the property. It makes sense looking at aerial photography now, seeing where that alkaline stuff leaches up. You know, you can kind of see where it pools, but that wasn't, since our site plan is kind of the top 2/3, we didn't think to visit during a rain event or something like that. So this is the first I'm hearing about it. And so I'm willing to look into it with my engineer and CDOT and to see what we can do so that at the very least, we don't increase the impact to our neighbors.
Okay.
Ideally, a no net impact, you know.
So how does the easement work here, being that the dirt will transition into the pavement, essentially?
It'll be asphalt from the highway to the end of there
Scroll down this.
here, and then it'll revert back to the existing
Dirt.
condition.
So, but if, and maybe I'm misunderstood here, but Mr. Tozer's access comes from the north property.
But he comes in about the middle of it. Yeah, see this dirt road right here?
That's right, it's right here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but
Yeah.
isn't the access,
And this continues on to this other parcel,
okay, but
clear back here.
number 8.
Well, yeah, the
Number
address
8
there
is-
for 16491, they access out of there too.
So is that going to be, so if their access is the southeastern corner there, right? Am I missing that?
scroll down, Tom, there you go. Yeah, see, okay. That looks like kind of a frontage road, if you will.
Down,
Private.
around, and back
Yeah.
up to the house.
Private frontage road.
Yeah. See, then they can go back here too and around. There's access roads everywhere. But are they legal access?
This subdivision was created by the owners of this
Oh, okay, okay,
parcel on the application.
okay.
Can I comment on who has access on those roads?
So, I'm sorry, sir, but public comment is closed at this point, okay?
But sort of answer your question, Zach, the existing access west would be asphalt faulted in until the limits of their asphalt, then it would go back to the whatever road this is.
But I'm seeing curb here, right? Curb and gutter. So if that curb and gutter goes from, say, middle of that property, at that property line, out to the end, and their access comes through that, they're effectively blocking their access by the curb and gutter, are they not?
Well, there'd be curb cuts wherever a driveway access.
Okay, and that's what I didn't see any curb cuts here.
Kind of a road, where that says 20 feet?
So Maverick's intention would be to obviously identify existing access easements and provide a curb cut. I did provide my contact information to the property owner. So if he needs an additional curb cut and additional access, then he can work with Maverick's party to provide that. And for the asphalt, again, that asphalt that we're installing as part of that driveway, we have to account for that stormwater in our storage basins too. So it wouldn't be, just flowing at the end and creating a mud pit with the dirt road. We have to have it angled so we capture it.
Okay.
These are the two north access that have been identified.
Those are the curb cuts.
Yeah, those will.
39, wow.
And obviously, they're up for discussion on width or whatever
Right.
they've got going on.
And that 39-foot entrance that's furthest to the east?
Was 40 foot at the highway?
No, going north.
Okay.
For the properties going north, that one right there. Can you bring that up on the ortho photograph?
Oh,
Yeah, the ortho photograph. Yeah, that one. So that's it right there. Nope.
you have to wait for
Come
the
on,
map to
regen,
catch up.
that one right there. Okay, so who uses that?
That would be the,
They didn't speak, they just raised their hands.
that's the
Okay,
Tozier
okay,
property.
Okay, that's, okay. And then the other one, further to the west, who uses that one? Oh, you
Same.
get two. Okay.
And I don't know what the language is on that easement, but it's an access easement for all three lots of that subdivision.
I'd look at that easement, see what that easement, how it reads. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to see
get
if
with
there's
them.
any restrictions
Yeah.
to what can be done with it, for sure.
And I mean, do you need two?
I wouldn't be able to have any authority over that, though.
Okay.
Anything else?
So in regard to some of the concerns that have been raised, even though it's an area problem and it's not this landowner's problem, one thing that well, tell me if this is something that we can ask, and that is the landowner is willing to go back and do some more engineering study in regard to how this water movement is going to be affected by their operation. Is that something we can can we continue this until we get more information as a result of their additional engineering studies? Or will that change the outcome of our recommendations?
I think versus them doing the engineering, they're gonna have to get with CDOT and see how CDOT's gonna address flooding that property. If that's the condition that their east right-of-way is dumping into the west right-of-way
To me,
and draining on to other properties.
and it's,
Because I'm sure that Maverick's Engineering is gonna say they're gonna raise the elevation and they're gonna contain all that water inside of CDOT's right-of-way. CDOT's responsible to move it or
And
make
who-
it go away.
And who holds them accountable for that? The county?
Well, I think it could be a condition that they contact CDOT, because they're gonna have to work together and work it out. Their traffic engineers, CDOT's whoever, engineers, to have it addressed.
but I guess
So I think it would be duly noted that that needs to have some movement forward, whether it's a condition moving forward to BOCC,
Correct.
or, you know, a condition to continue it here.
But I think we have to address the fact that this gentleman's given them, the landowners, his card to work with, right? However, if that, what holds him accountable of working with the landowners? You know, if you, how do you enforce that if that's part of the potential agreement, right?
Can't we put
As
it
opposed to,
in a position?
well, but as opposed to,
So the land use code requires that you can't drain water onto other people's property.
and I understand that, but I'm,
Now, the highway drainage is a state issue.
and I understand that. My point is, the traffic concern, the water concern, all of these concerns as a summation, I don't see how this can move forward without those being addressed and agreed upon.
Well,
And maybe I'm wrong, but that's,
And I see what you're saying, but like this gentleman said, as far as the land use code, he's doing what he's supposed to.
I understand.
So we're just gonna put conditions on this approval if we approve it. The property owner to the north, the water issue, the overhead line issue, that's something, that, you know, I still wanna make sure that's addressed. I don't want nobody, you know, a truck coming in that you haven't thought about that hits that baby.
And I understand that, but we have to consider the adverse impact to the other adjoining landowners too,
Okay?
right? And I think that's something to be considered prior to just putting a blanket potential approval without enforcing conditions or without the landowner and the property owners working together to find common ground before you just say, yes, you're good to go with conditions, because how is that enforced?
Well, wouldn't that be something that the BOCC would see before it got to them? That these conditions have to be met?
Yeah, with the
Before they-
conditions, it may take, you know, a month or two before it can be scheduled for the commissioners' meeting.
And they normally ask if there's any conditions that were put on it by the P and Z. And then you pipe up and say, yeah, there's the conditions, and they'll turn and ask him, have you met these conditions?
Right, and the final plat on this, I guess, could be requested that has a coordinated CDOT site drainage addressed.
Yeah, but conditions are left to interpretation too, right? I mean, okay, there's a traffic concern,
Mhm.
right? And is CDOT the authority that says the traffic concern is mitigated?
Yes,
Is the,
they are.
is the water, who addresses the water concern? right? Who says that's
CDOT in
mitigated?
their right of way.
It's in there right away.
Okay.
They
What-
put it
what
in there.
about- What about the light and sound and all those concerns? Who enforces that those are within an acceptable range? That's my question.
Oh, okay. I didn't even hear that brought up.
Well, Mr. Tozier talked about a privacy fence and mitigation of because of sound and all those kinds of
And
things,
light.
which light applies into that, all of those things.
Well, that's a condition of the plat, that there'll be fencing adequate, I don't want to call it security fencing, but
Wow.
privacy fencing.
That-
Yeah.
I'm concerned that who says that you throw up a 2-foot fence, right? Is that adequate?
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So what is adequate then? That is my concern.
Well,
I think if those things could be worked out, I don't see any reason that the development couldn't be where it is.
Mhm.
But that said, I do think that there are concerns that need to be addressed ahead of time, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion.
Do you have any suggestions?
So our prototypical lighting plan is to keep, photometric studies look at lumens and foot candles of light fixtures. And so we don't have any outside of the signage, any lights that shine outward. They're all downward.
Yeah, that's the glare that is against the code. Can't glare.
Right.
We know that.
So, our goal would to keep, the lumen or foot candle reading outside of our property boundary as close to 0.0 as possible. So, I don't really want to make suggestions outside of Maverick's prototypical standard. Like, we have stores, 2 sites in Cortez and a site in Durango, and all those sites have had to meet the jurisdictional code requirements. And so I don't want to impose anything on myself that is more restrictive than
That makes
Love's
sense.
or
Makes
my
sense.
neighbor would enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that per se, but I am willing to hear and answer questions, regarding that.
So if he's done a lighting study, then that meets your criteria. The other thing would be a noise study, which you may have done, I don't know. I mean, there's, the noise study is 50 decibels at the property line? That's it, so.
Yeah, so
that
there's
may
a
be-
noise requirement, right? And we have statistical data on our typical customer peak volumes. So if you required a noise study, I think you're within your right to require a noise study to ensure that when our project is approved for building permit, it meets the requirements of noise and volume. And so, for example, if it shows that our typical use of the site would exceed the noise standards, but we want to continue with this development, we're going to have to mitigate those noise standards by doing something. So and whatever that something is probably best left up to the noise consultant, the sound engineer, whoever we have to hire to conduct that study. It's not typical of our scope, but I don't think it's far-fetched, and I'm sure we've been required to do it in other places.
So the noise is gonna be no different than the truck highway noise.
Exactly.
And the lighting's gonna have to be downcast lighting.
Per code.
Contained, as well as not interfere with reflecting into CDOT's highway. They have their own.
Or their neighbors, and sometimes we have neighbors that still have lights on.
Right.
Okay.
And it
Yeah,
is right there in the middle of the industrial commercial overlay zone,
One-
where it's designed to go.
one thing I want to raise, I'm new to the board, so I don't have the knowledge of the history in regard to Love's and their development. But we want, this is probably obvious to you, but I'll say it out loud anyway. We want to make sure that we're not imposing on one business more than what we imposed on other businesses in the same area. So if we're gonna request something of Maverick, we need to make sure it's justified by the land use code and not something that is additional than what we've asked others to do.
I think it's also something to be considered that was a former truck stop and this has been vacant land. So I think there's a difference there as well.
That's right.
What it was, where this is, yeah, like you said, vacant land, yeah.
And the water drainage was an issue with them as well, and they were required to address that. Now, how they addressed it, I don't agree with it, but I'm not the engineer, and CDOT's reviewing it, and if they approve it,
They bought off on it, yeah.
it's CDOT's right of way, and what happens with the water in and out of there, that's something our land use code can't cover.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
Well, now we're beating the dead horse.
Okay. Then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend to the County Board of Commissioners to approve the high-impact permit application submitted by Maverick, Agent Todd Myers, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. Conditions to the motion: that CDOT is compliant with an access as shown on the drawings, okay, one single access, that there is adequate water to your, and I can't believe that the water company wouldn't tell you anything different if it didn't have it. The EEA line, the overhead power line, that's addressed. And the storm drain across 145, which is still gonna be CDOT's, you know, that is really looked at hydraulically, make sure that it stays on their property and can flow south. And the property owner to the north is in a conversation about privacy, and his access remain open. Give that, Jane.
I'm getting it.
Okay, sorry, I probably spoke too fast.
What was the last one? Property?
Property owner to the north, his access is still maintained, which it shows on the drawings as dual access, and that's curb cuts in the driveway and so forth. It still shows it all, yeah.
Okay.
That's my proposal.
Any second?
I'll second the motion.
Commissioner Lynch? Okay. And any further discussion? Nope. Okay. Then we
We
can call.
understand the motion, the conditions, right? For the most part.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Go
Okay,
for it.
when you say maintain the access, that means a curb cut with this, with the same width as currently shown by, you know, demarcation of dirt, or that Maverick is to maintain his access points?
No,
Like
the curb cut.
maintenance wise?
Yeah, the curb, whatever you block up, whatever you set as an improvement, that is adequate for him to get in and out, that's it, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. And we can call a vote.
Commissioner Farian?
Nay.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Aye.
Commissioner Lynch?
Aye.
Okay. Vote was motion was carried. Vote was 2-1.
2-1.
Good luck.
Thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, can we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez,
Here.
Commissioner Lynch.
Here.
All right. Additional items?
The only thing I had was to check on Ted to see if he would request to be moved to permanent position with the BOCC or remain as an alternate.
Gotcha.
I don't know, Mike, if you heard that Zach his term is up in December and he is not applying to renew that.
So you're not reconsidering? Thanks.
I got other engagements and other things.
Literally. Literally.
Yeah, other things I have to consider in my life, and business, it's busy, and it's just, if I can't do this 100% anymore, then I need to let somebody else in here.
We're gonna miss you.
Yeah.
I doubt that.
No, trust me, we will.
Haley's term is up as well, but she has requested to be reappointed for another term. And then we have one person left from our interviews last December that was the first, well, not the first alternate, I guess the first off the list to be moved up.
First in line.
Right. And so that will be presented to the commissioners. They will need to appoint those positions and terms. I don't know if, I guess Mike Doyle is the applicant.
What's his name?
Mike Doyle.
Mike Doyle.
I only know him, he's the assistant high school golf coach. But he was the first on the list from those that weren't previously appointed as permanent and alternate positions.
Would you still run new interviews?
We wouldn't have to.
Okay.
At this point, I have contacted him and he is still interested
Okay.
in being on the commission. Now, if we lose another member, then we'll have to open it up for applications, advertise, interviews, and go through that.
So Ted would move into,
Yeah, I just need to
position.
double check with him that
If he
that's his request. We'll have to get a requested email from him just so then we can make our recommendation to the commissioners for those appointments.
Okay.
Yeah, if Ted wants to move up to permanent, we'll recommend that with Mike going in as the alternate.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody. Time to move on.
How many years?
4.
4 years?
Yeah. Not as long as some, but
But he
Plenty.
can always
Oh, no,
reapply.
I've only been 3. No, I don't even think I've been 3. I've only been 2.
yeah.
Yeah, I've only been 2.
Yeah, and there may come a day when my life
Oh, yeah.
slows down and I want to come back, because I do enjoy a lot of it, you know. There's times I don't necessarily enjoy it.
Let me think.
But for the most part, I do enjoy it, but, you know, it's time to do, I got
Other
other
things.
things I got to take care of, so.
And you're getting married?
Yeah, getting married.
Yeah, and so the invitation will be coming?
Yeah.
Always open for a party.
Right, yeah.
Always open for a party.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then. Nothing else, Don?
Not unless you guys have something.
Other than, I think that what we discussed as far as, then if Zach's bowing out, then he doesn't need to be a part of it, you know. Because I talked with Ian, the county attorney, and about some of the longevity of the discussions, and he said we can definitely limit that. And when the public comment comes and there's 50 people that want to talk about a road issue as far as traffic, after 10, we say everybody that wants to talk about the road, raise your hand. And then we take note of who they are, and that's it. Anybody else has something different to say, they could come. As far as the applicant, Mr. Applicant, we're gonna give you X amount of minutes at the beginning, because we'll know. We'll know if it's gonna be a contentious discussion. We're gonna give you 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever we decide, and that's it. After that,
That's the end of it.
I have some feedback for that.
Yes, what?
I have some comments.
Oh, comments on that.
Yeah, probably ought to give them offline.
Okay, okay. And like I said, that came from the attorney, so. Okay, that's it. No, nothing else? Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.